something that's crazy to me is that I can have like 2 weeks where I'm so motivated and I do everything on time. And then the following 2 weeks, basically nothing gets done. Nothing gets done all the way until like last minute. So a due date is due on a Friday, and I have the whole week to do it. And I wait till the Friday to start. I'm sure you can relate. That feeling of shame you get, that feeling of, wow, am I really like this? It's one of the worst feelings in the world. This week I wanted to talk about what's the word? It starts with an R. Relapse. Relapsing into your old habits, into your bad habits, and becoming not exactly the perfect person you envisioned in your head. And maybe this ties into that a little bit, the idea that you have so much time to do stuff, and yet you failed to do it in the allotted time that's given to you. There was a long weekend this weekend. There was a long weekend this weekend. I had five-ish tasks. 4 days to do 5-ish tasks. Maybe 6. And guess how many of them I actually got done? Maybe 2. And it's such a shame because imagine how that feels. I mean, you probably don't even have to imagine it. That doesn't feel very good, does it? It feels like shit, quite frankly. That you had all this time to do all this stuff, but you wasted it just doing random shit that has nothing to do with your tasks. Like watching YouTube or scrolling down TikTok or playing video games when you know you have something to do but you don't do it. It's the worst feeling ever. And the weird thing is that the brain loves that feeling. Loves that feeling. The brain would rather stay in that uncomfortable feeling of just, I know I have something to do, but let me just do this for a little bit and then I'll get to work. It loves to stay in that state of unresolvedness. That's what I would describe it as, unresolvedness. Rather than just starting the task. And why is that? Maybe it's because we're comfortable in that uncomfortable situation. Maybe it's because we've kind of trained our brain to work that way, in a way where procrastination is the norm, and that's how you get things done. There are no consequences for procrastination, because you can always just stay up a whole night and finish the whole thing. This consequenceless way of living, where you get off scot-free for doing everything wrong except for the last moment. You get off scot-free doing everything wrong until the last moment. It's just toxic as hell. Toxic as hell, and it's a terrible, terrible thing to go through. It's a terrible cycle. It keeps happening. You acknowledge it happens, but then it keeps happening. And the crazy thing is that sometimes you just get off scot-free. I know I did this time. I procrastinated my assignment all the way till now. And I got away with it. I'm probably going to get a pretty good mark. Maybe not perfect, but good enough to pass the course, right? In a way, you kind of expect to get away with it scot-free. There's no challenge here. There's no need to change because what works already works. So there's no feeling that you have to do something. And maybe that's what I'm missing. That sense that that sense of urgency, that sense that something needs to change. But I'm not going to sit here and take this running. I have some ideas of maybe how I can try and get over this hump in my life. And I realize my parents do it too. My parents leave everything to the last moment, and then they get overwhelmed and they give up. And that's a trait I have that I took from them. I'm not proud of it, but I do have it. But if I can, I want to break that cycle and get out of that loop. If I can. And maybe I need to believe that I can. Because sometimes believing in something makes it true. Anyway, topic for another time. I've started scheduling my days, where I just write out what I do at every time. And it helps to some extent, creating some structure. The only problem being the distractions and that general feeling that, oh shit, I don't want to do anything. It happens. And also not relapsing. Now that's a tall order, isn't that? But trying to stay away from your bad habits is a good way to just have more motivation in general. If you watch the Huberman episode on dopamine, it kind of makes sense why. Because scrolling TikTok and scrolling YouTube kind of depletes your motivation reserves. If you want the technical details, of course, you can watch the Huberman podcast. So you lose your dopamine reserves, and then you have a lower baseline of dopamine, which is used for motivation, right? So if you can avoid depleting your reserves, if you can avoid these highly stimulating activities like playing games, watching TikTok, watching YouTube videos, and the stuff you do at night, we'll leave it at that. If you can avoid those activities, then that's good. That's good for you. That'll help you be more motivated during the day. That'll keep you from feeling that, oh shit, I don't want to do this feeling. Because that feeling literally kills dreams. I want you to imagine this, right? There are millions and millions of people on this earth, just like you and me. And they go through the same things. They have the same feelings. They have the same problems as we do. They get distracted watching YouTube, scrolling TikTok, playing video games, all this shit. And they let it rule their lives. They let themselves become a slave to our devices that we keep in our pockets. They let themselves get distracted and completely lose themselves in scrolling, mindless scrolling. I like to call it content drain. Mindless content drain. But we can be better. We can be better. We can move away from this mindless world, this mindless content drain that we're all forced to do in our lives. That we've all fallen for. We've all fallen for the idea that looking at your phone for only 5 minutes is just... We've all fallen for the idea that you will only look at your phone for 5 minutes, when really it's actually 10, sometimes 15, sometimes 30. When you get distracted, it's not 5 minutes. It's much longer than that. Sometimes it turns into a couple hours. What you fill your life with is what you'll think about. And if you fill your bored moments, and if you fill your moments of boredom with the content drain, then content drain will be your life. If you take anything from this video, I think it's this. I think this is the most important thing you should take. Be careful what you do in your free time. What you do when you feel like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or what you do when you feel like you don't want to do something. Not sure if I said that right. What you do when you feel like you don't want to do something. Because what you do in your free time, in a weird way, determines what you do in your not so free time. If that makes sense. Human beings were not designed to have this high stimulation environment that we're in right now, where entertainment is just a phone unlock away. Click an app and scroll and scroll and scroll. Easy, cheap entertainment for minimal effort. Easy dopamine. Easy happiness points. And that stuff can hack your brain and make you do things that were not really that fun to begin with. Not really. Scrolling isn't really that fun. I don't know if you ever noticed that. And completely hack your productivity as well. I hate how I can procrastinate and get away with things. It feels shameful. It feels terrible. It feels like I don't deserve what I'm getting, even though I am getting it. I don't deserve to get away with this, considering what I actually did in my free time. That's a terrible feeling. But maybe managing what you do in your free time might help. Might help me be a little more damn it, I forgot the word. I forgot the word right at the end of my speech. SMH. Maybe this is the first step to being a reliable person. The ability to control what I do in my free time. The ability to curate. Curate is a better word. What I do in my free time. The ability to avoid cheap thrills. Easy dopamine. Easy happiness points. The ability to delay satisfaction for later. Do work when it's assigned. Do work ahead of time. I hope that one day I break away from this unreliability curse, and one day I can become that reliable person. And I hope you join me in that journey. I hope you join me.